Hello, everyone. This is your brother William Giles. I'm hoping everybody's okay. Just want to make a quick video and drop a little couple of words of encouragement, acknowledgement. A while back, I did a study, and it was dated January 31st, 2021. And in this study, I asked a couple of questions. And like I said before, if you listen to some of my previous messages, some people are just gonna always go against you, and I have reason to believe it's because they're hiding a power structure that's controlling them. And it is what it is. I can't do anything about that. It's just some things I had to learn. So the questions that I presented were biblically based questions. As we read Genesis 25 and Genesis 42, I'm going to have two questions here that I believe is very necessary and relevant to this day. Genesis 25, verse 21 and 22. Basically, Rebecca, who was Isaac's wife, asked a question. And that question is, why am I like this? And I revert that question to this day and age to say, why is it like this? Why are some things the way they are? In Genesis 42, we see here Jacob was going through a famine at the time. And a question was presented in Genesis 42, verse 1. And it says, why do you look at one another? That's the question. Why do you look at one another? Seeing to it that they were going through a famine at the time, he asked that question to his sons. And then he basically answered the question. It says, and he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down and buy for us there, that we may live and not die. And in that answer to the question, that we may live and not die, one of the things I said in a message that I gave off, or that I presented on January 31st, 2021, I said one of the ways, or one of the answers to the question of how can we live and not die. I'm so glad I said one of the answers to that question, how can we live and not die, is because when people try and tell you that you're just saying things you shouldn't say and you don't know what you're talking about, well, I wonder if the same people who was telling me that are the same people who are listening today to see that sometimes time have a way of giving you an answer that it'll kind of leave you in shock sometimes. And it has happened to me. Life has always been a lesson. But you can't just discount because somebody don't answer questions the way you do. In some cases, you just try and take in what's good, and if you feel like you don't want to hear that answer, okay, well then just let time be the variant. I'm gonna talk about the variants here in another lesson. Why we keep getting the answer with another variant? That's something to talk about later. So, as I quickly come to a close on this, I asked the question before, why am I like this? Then I asked another question, how can we live and not die? First question, one of the questions. When we look at how I gave this lesson on January 31st, look at the timeline. January 31st, we found out I asked this question. Various people try to answer it in their own way, and I left that question open ended. And on February 14th, I was in church and I found out that we had some saints that were in India and they died. And the reason for their death was because due to the pandemic and some some things, it was a bit of a struggle in the land of India. And they ended up dying due to starvation. And when we got that information, we were so struck about what happened. We did something about it. One of the things we did was we sent funds. We got together and we sent funds to India to help this brother that was in need. And we thought that was a noble thing to do. But we wish we would have known that before it even happened in the first place. So that's why I'm talking about this. And I'm being very cautious how I'm speaking, because this is not something that's good information. It's very sad information to hear and understand that it was something you could have done, but because in life we live and we learn, and sometimes we drop the ball on some things. I try and tell people to look at life through a reality standpoint, even through your spiritual life. You have to live. Because the same people who were trying to tell me I'm focused on the wrong thing by trying my best to live were the same people that asked me to give when these people died so that they could live. But if we're so focused on just dying, then what's the point of trying to live in the first place? And like I said, I'm being respectful to the people that we help, but you can't sit here and crisscross things like telling me something wrong with me for trying to teach people to live, when the Bible just gave you authority to live. Now, when it's a person time to go, it's a person time to go. But if it's something you can do to live, notice what Jacob did. Genesis 41, verse 1 and 2. Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, why do you look one upon another? And he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get ye down there and buy for us, that we may live and not die. That is one of the answers to the question. Now, I will never discount that one of the answers, another answer to the question, which is the most important answer, is always walk with God. I will always agree that that is the answer to everything in life. But don't discount the fact that finances is something that can help you when you're in this world and you're trying to get things done. Finances can help you. And there's nothing wrong with answering that question that way, as long as you keep it in context. You and I, we are keeping it in context that God is above all. Even in the times where we are struggling, God is above all. Always put Him first. And yes, He will guide and help and meet needs. So that's one of the things we want to take and put into context here as we go into the next question. Just remember, Jacob answered the question when he said, go down and buy for us, that we may live and not die. Finances always is something that can help you. But now let's go back to another question. Genesis 25:21. And when we see here that Rebecca asked a question, and she said, why am I like this? You and I understand that, especially as parents, it's a struggle in life to provide and be there and to love and to be caring. But then most of all, to understand that if we read further in Genesis 25, verse 21 and following, we see one of the answers to life is war. And that's not easy to accept. So when it comes to justice, when it comes to asking the question, why is it like this, and why am I like this, and why is this, why is that, every question that you ask is not with the intent to go against God and his purpose and his will. Sometimes we see that when the Most High give you, first of all, the Most High is the creator of the heavens and the earth and everything in it. So he knows what he's doing. One of the things, when we get an answer, we have to take the answer and make what's best out of it. And we see here, in this case, she got an answer, and it was war. Basically, it was war. Remember, I asked this question, I presented this question, and tried to make sense of it all on January 31st, 2021. And when we think about the justice or the injustices or some things that could be done better in this world, let's take into account of this one thing. I'm always show my respect and my love to the Most High Son, our Messiah. I'm always remember him. That was 2,000, or roughly 2,000 years ago. Close to it. And his name is still being echoed throughout the ages. And when we think about, this is no comparison by the way, but when we think about those who have died to bring light to something, like Christ died for our sins, he brought light to our sins, that we need to get that together so we can live with the Most High forever. What about in some cases where I have put into my mind the 3 T's? Young men, little boys, young men that never had an opportunity to really live their life because of injustice. Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, and Emmett Till. These 3 T's, these boys who done nothing wrong to deserve that type of punishment, to where their lives were taken in an unjust manner. That was way before January 31st, 2021. But when you start getting up to date, remember, the question is, why is it like this? Then you have Ahmaud Arbery, who was killed on February 23rd, 2020. Was that just? Because remember, on January 31st, 2021, I gave a bit of a storyline behind why is it like this. I'm asking this question because I don't understand why Trayvon Martin got into what he got into for simply walking down the street. Why Tamir Rice can't play like others. And was that really necessary to do that to Emmett Till? How about Ahmaud Arbery? Was that necessary? Could you just left him alone? Oh, how about this? There was a young lady on April 20th, 2021. Now, why is it like this? Her name was Ma'Khia Bryant in Columbus, Ohio. Look at these dates. Now, I asked this question in January 2021. In April 2021, Ma'Khia Bryant. Now, let me say this. I wish this young lady did not have a knife in her hand. But look at the response of just like Tamir Rice, just like Trayvon Martin, just like Emmett Till, just like Ahmaud Arbery. And then look at what happened to Ma'Khia Bryant, where she just got lit up, all in her back. The slightest reasons would give some people or some, I want to say power structures, but then it don't even have to be power structures. It could be just straight up, you figure out what it is to make somebody do what they want to do to Ahmaud Arbery or Tamir Rice or Trayvon Martin or Emmett Till. But I want to bring you up to date. On June 2nd, 2021, in Volusia County, Florida, go look it up. Look how it was two teenagers, and I want you to figure out the difference between these two teenagers and Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Emmett Till, Ahmaud Arbery, and Ma'Khia Bryant. Two teenagers in Volusia County, Florida, on January 2nd, 2021. Police officers showed up to try and arrest these two teens who used a shotgun and an AK-47 to fight the police off from being arrested or being detained. The police officers were successful in not killing, but wounding one in the leg and subduing these teens. Now you go figure out why is it like this and leave your comments. Something got to change. Something has got to change. Jesus saves. He do. He saves us from our sin. But when are we going to save ourselves from the way we think? Don't you think some of the ways we think is a sin? Let's start fixing this and make it fair for everybody. Now, if you don't want to make it fair, I would appreciate it if the world would just be honest. It's not going to be fair. Okay. But making a plan is such evil that in some cases I got called evil because I said, let's make a plan to get out of an unfair situation. Now you call me evil. Some people, I ain't gonna say you, let me say, some people has called me evil, but you didn't call these other folk evil that did this to Tamir Rice and Trayvon Martin and Emmett Till and Ahmaud Arbery, and Ma'Khia Bryant. But you let them two little kids over there that shot at you, that had a gun that was aimed at the peace officers. They get all the breaks in the world. Now you focus the shots that you throw at them so good that you make sure it don't really do nothing to them. But Ma'Khia Bryant got lit all the way up in her back. And you wonder why we ask a question, why is it like this? But y'all don't want to be honest about why it's like this. But I'm evil for making a plan to get out this problem. But these people ain't evil for what they doing. You don't even want to talk about it. Okay. Enough said. Y'all take it easy. Hope the best. God bless you. I love you. God love you. I have reason to believe He want us to just do better, get better, be better. Y'all take it easy. Stay in God's strong and unchanging hands. Stay blessed. Peace. Brother Will out.